Hi friends, welcome back to part 2. In part 1, we left off where we did the foundation molding and then we laid some cement blocks to create the base for the framing of the greenhouse. So today we're going to start the framing. Now before we start the framing, we had to anchor down some bolts, which we did off camera, but we're also going to show you how we did that. In each corner there are 2 bolts, and then within the length in the middle of each section there are 1 to 2 bolts just to secure the sill plate that we're going to use to start the framing. So there are plenty of ways you can do this. You can pre-mix your concrete mix prior, or you can mix it in a hole like we are doing. This is our method, this is what we did, and this is how we're doing it. So basically we just mix the concrete mix into the pockets of the blocks. You want it to be pancake mix consistency. Now here we have a 10-inch bolt. This is what we're going to use. It's an anchor bolt. You can find this at any of your hardware stores or big box stores. We're going to push it down into the mix, and you want it to be about 7 inches down. We're going to be using a 2x6 board, so you need it to be a little bit over 2 inches long. Here we're using a 2x4 just to measure to see how high up the anchor is, if we have enough space to secure it once we put the boards on, and we do. Then we just go around and fill every single pocket for stability. Now remember, this base was built with a no-dig method. We did not dig down into the earth to create the base. We did a mold on the surface. Even though we use rebar coming all the way up, we just wanted more security, more stability for the greenhouse itself and the roof, and if we do get snow, which we do here in Maryland. Now this is our measurement. So in order to figure out where we need to drill the holes on the 2x6 pressure treated wood, we just place the wood exactly where we're going to lay it on top of the anchor bolts and knock it down with, what was that tool? That big heavy hammer. And it made an indentation. Then I went in with the drill and drill out the holes wide enough so the anchors can fit through. And of course the girls, her nails are always done, yes. Now here, this blue thing that you see my husband with, it is called a sill seal. So basically what a sill seal is just a layer between the block and the 2x6 lumber that we're using. It's a strip to help reduce like air infiltration between the concrete foundation and the sill plate, or you can use it around your windows and your doors. It's good to use on like gaps and irregular surfaces to help reduce air infiltration for tighter building, energy saving type thing. Now I've read on Google, there's pros and cons to this. Many are saying you don't need it, and some are saying it's still great to use even though you are using pressure treated wood. Now if you weren't using pressure treated wood, it is guaranteed that you use it, but using pressure treated wood is an option. That's all I read on the internet. We decided to go with it anyway just to be safe. Once we have everything in and the anchor bolts are up, we use a washer and a nut to secure everything. After we went around the whole structure, putting everything on, my husband went back in with one of those fancy drills to secure and tighten everything. So it is the next day, and my husband is adding a drip edge before we start the actual framing. This is to help water from staying off of the outside of the exposed 2x6 board, even though once again it is pressure treated. It also looks cute, so you don't really see where the block starts or ends. There was a small gap in between the 2x6 and the cinder blocks, so by putting this on the edge it looks really nice and, you know, a little bit more cleaner. Once again, do you need this? Probably not, but we added it just in case. After getting 2 of the corner posts put up, we're realizing that something is off, but we just cannot put our fingers on it.
Alright, so you say I use pressure treated frame.
Pressure treated frame with the window in the back.
Okay.
The back of the get side of it.
Alright.
T1 11. So the front say
The 3 side.
yeah, the front, 2 front, and the 2 side.
The measurement for the
You know, I mean, where you going to do with the rest of the space?
Take it up with 2x4, man.
Alright.
You're right, take it up with 2x4 from behind the fence right now.
Yeah, but you still need.
Yeah, you still need something
Something
to
else
hold the
to
door and all
door,
that.
door,
Secure the
and
window
with
and
the
the
door
door.
first.
Right,
And then.
right. Right, and come up with space.
So then he started to go around and measure everything out, asking questions. And of course, I'm sitting there taking everything in, soaking everything up, because if and when I do this again, I will know exactly what to do. Because I do plan on doing this again, maybe several times. So he's going around measuring everything and asking me about the size of the windows. Now, everything will be based around the windows. The windows I'm using are actually refrigerator doors, glass refrigerator doors you will find in your grocery store. Here, he's just explaining that even though we do have a sill plate down onto the cinder blocks, you still need to frame everything out with 2x4s. So now he has the 2x4 on top of the 2x6, and he put it out on the edge on top of the drip edge, and he's going to start framing from there and work his way up. He's doubling everything for the strength. Once again, he needs the stability and the strength to hold the side glasses, which are refrigerator doors, extremely heavy, and the roof, and the possibility of snow. So he's doubling everything up with 2x4s. So with these corner posts, they are getting ready to create the header, which will which is what the roof will sit on. And he's also doubling up the 2x4s for strength once again. So one is a little bit taller than the other, but that is where a 2x4 plate is going to sit on to connect both and hold them together. Now guys, I do not know anything about framing. I'm trying my best to explain as best as possible based on what I'm seeing and what I was told while I was there in the moment. So this is where they use the 2x4 across to hold them both together, and then they use a 2x8 on the outside and also one on the inside to create the heather. Now the 2x4 that they use for the crossbeam right here, it is not pressure treated because this is on the inside and it will not be touched by moisture. So they did not use a 2x4 for a pressure treated 2x4 for that. Then he started to frame in and measure for the refrigerator doors that will be going on both sides and the front. Now the back of this greenhouse will be a solid wall. I have my reasons for that. We'll get to that when we get there. So my husband is working on the 2x8 that they're using on the top for the heather once again to hold the weight of the roof. So now they're working on the back wall. Now with the back wall, I want it to be a solid wall, no glass, no windows, nothing back there. Reason being, I have a small wood stove that I will be using to heat the greenhouse through the winter time, and I would like for the back wall to be solid so I can have it there. Also to have extra storage. On each side of the wood burning stove, I'm going to have large floating shelves so I can store my terracotta pots, have plants, and just store pretty things above, because when you first walk in, it is directly in the path, directly in the door. You can see everything from outside. Everything will be aligned. So now they're just framing to have a solid wall. For those of you who aren't sure what a heather is, it's basically just a fancy name for a beam running across the area to kind of help with the structural load, so the whole thing doesn't collapse when it has weight on it when the roof is on. That's the best way I can describe it. And this is all we got done. We lost light. The next video after this, we are going to put the roof up. So see you guys then. Bye.